Greetings, it's Vanessa-Mary. I'm back with another episode of Leading with Heart. It has been quite a while since I did this. So this is the Summit Special. Thank you for all of you who have let me know that you are attending this year's Summit. So I'll go into that a little bit further. But before I begin, let me introduce this podcast series. So if you don't know who I am, my name's Vanessa-Mary, and I'm the founder of the Seeds community. And we are creating a space for honest conversation for family-led businesses. So these are the mums and the dads, the partners, the visionaries who are building something meaningful, building something special. So I'm a working mum myself. And I come across lots of different entrepreneurs who are working their business life around their family life. Now, for us, it's not about having a perfect, polished journey. And there's some truth for us when it comes to the leadership and how we are managing our life, the decisions that we're making, the challenges that, we're overcoming on a day-by-day basis. But ultimately, we are seeking growth in our business, in our own personal journey. And it's all about well-being. Because when you are ambitious, you do need to recognize that you are the first pillar of your enterprise. So like I said, this is the Summit series, and I am kicking it off with two wonderful individuals that I've met online. I cannot wait to meet them at this year's Seeds of Unlimited Success, which is happening on the 23rd of May here in Nottingham. So I'm going to bring them up. So we have David Brown and Thea Crockett from the Institute of Sovereign Leadership. Thank you so much, both of you, for being on this call with me today.
Thank you, Vanessa-Mary. I'm really, really excited to speak with you today and to be at your wonderful gathering in Nottingham on the 23rd. Can't wait.
I know. I can't wait. Right. So we do have people that are tuning into the live. If you are tuning in today, please do let us know where you are calling in from. Leave us a message. I will pull up the comments onto the stream as well. Now, it's always good to be engaged in these podcasts because then we know that maybe what we're saying is making a difference to you. So before we go any further, David and Thea, would you like to introduce yourselves to the audience? Tell us where you're based. Tell us a little bit about the Institute of Sovereign Leadership, how you've actually met each other, which is an interesting story. So whoever wants to go first, I'll turn it over to you. Thank you.
You kick off, David.
Oh, okay. Right. So I started my journey as an Antarctic research scientist. And I had this kind of wonderful romantic vision of what doing that was going to look like. But the reality was nothing like that at all. And through a series of very kind of fortuitous circumstances, I was able to give up that career and start to teach martial arts. And it was in building that martial arts business. And I got married. And in that marriage, I had a wonderful stepson, or I have a wonderful stepson. And it was being able to be self-employed. And also my wife at the time was self-employed. We were able to home educate our son and build our businesses and do all of that wonderful stuff. And then in the process of that martial arts career building, I also got involved in life coaching, which is much more the kind of thing that I do now. I still teach martial arts, but the life coaching is kind of the main thing. And when I started life coaching, I wanted to find this way of how do I bring this wonderful thing of life coaching and this wonderful thing of martial arts together? How do I weave them together? And I discovered this wonderful course called the Embodied Facilitators course that was at the time run by a guy called Mark Walsh. And Thea and I met on that course. And I learned how to bring the qualities that I'd learned, the skills that I'd learned in martial arts, and really help people in their life coaching journey. So there's a lot of embodiment. There's a lot of being aware of your feelings and sensations in your body, and how you can use those feelings and sensations to kind of track them as you're speaking with people, how you're running your business, how you're making decisions and balancing all the complexities of your life, but being able to track that and manage that and regulate yourself so that you can make decisions that don't come from fear or doubt or worry or habit, but that they are live decisions, choices that you're making in the moment that serve you and serve the people that you're sharing your life with. So essentially we call that sovereign leadership, or being in your sovereignty. And that's how the Institute of Sovereign Leadership was born.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. I mean, I'm like nodding away. I can't wait to come back on everything that you said. I'm going to pause. I'm going to let Thea introduce herself, because when you said martial arts, then I've realized, oh, that was our conversation when we first met as well. Brilliant. But Thea, you tell us about yourself. This is so exciting for me.
Yeah, lovely, Vanessa-Mary. That's great. Yeah, my work history was first in teaching English as a foreign language, then in organizational leadership, primarily social enterprises and charities. And I then became a coach in my 40s, working to a kind of system of intuitive creativity that I was taught by a really excellent teacher, and that just opened my life up. I'd got quite single and a little bit limited and very, very burnt out through my work. And this whole new world opened up imaginatively, creatively, an amazing community. And then, like David said, I wanted to deepen it, and I saw the Embodied Facilitators course, and I thought that's the thing that's been missing for me, is my body in this work. And I think David and I probably realized we were kind of meant to be very good friends, and then later partners in our business, because we ended up doing the Muppet song together as our showpiece for the course. And I thought, well, if he's willing to stand up with me and sing the Muppet song in front of this group of strangers, I think there's something here for us to follow. And during COVID, when we were putting on support kind of circles for people through the COVID times, David and I started to collaborate using the archetypes, embodying the archetypes, and we just loved it. This was something that David had worked on previously. And then it consolidated into sovereign leadership just through our work together, honing it and getting down to some key principles that we've now named as sovereign leadership, and that we've consolidated into a framework that we're really loving exploring with people.
Wow. Again, I'm so excited about all of that. I mean, I started off in the charity sector myself there, and went into supporting social enterprises as well. So there are definitely similarities between you and I, even though we're only just connecting for the first time today on a live. What I wanted to say, going back to what David said, which really put a smile on my face, was about the martial arts and the discipline behind that as well. So I'm not training at the moment, literally out of practice a lot. But when I was doing my own martial arts training, it was such a deep journey with myself, actually. It wasn't just about what my physical body was able to do. And I do have a hip condition as well. So when you're doing kickboxing, for example, with a hip condition, that's not the easiest thing. But it was the discipline, it was the learning to, you know, understand myself better and actually talk to myself better as I was doing my training. So you really put a smile on my face with that, David. Thank you. So,
and I also think martial arts is a brilliant context for like facing your fears and being able to talk to yourself kindly when you're going to be sparring with somebody, and just noticing that, you know, that discomfort that comes up that so many of us like want to avoid is actually a really fertile ground for, you know, our growth and taking a stand and expanding ourselves. So I think it's a wonderful thing to do.
Definitely. So you mentioned sovereignty, and that's definitely something that I believe in, about the soul journey as well. So I do talk to people about being a sovereign soul. Not a lot of people understand that concept, and it's perfectly fine, but I know where I sit with my own sovereignty. It was my celebration day on Sunday, and when you get a card where the envelope says Queen on the card, then you're thinking, oh, okay, then I'll take it. So yeah, it's very important for us to, you know, really honour our sovereignty, and I'm sure that's something that you are talking to people about as you're doing the training. So, like I said, we're gathered here online and we're getting ready to meet each other in the physical reality on Saturday, the 23rd of May in Nottingham for the third Seeds of Unlimited Success. So I'm so excited to have you both on the program with me. We will talk about your masterclass element a little bit later, if that's okay. We do have people on the live. We've had someone watching from India, so that's really good. So if you didn't think you was international, you are now. I've just come off a call with a young gentleman from Ghana. So, you know, this is the beauty of the virtual world, that even though we are physically located in one place, our message can reach others in different parts. So, as I said to you before, I don't script this conversation. It's a chat that we're having, but I do like to talk to people around the SEEDS framework. So the SEEDS framework, for those of you who may not be aware, it actually is something that I use in my work within the SEEDS community. We use it within the growth gatherings, which happens online. And the things that we talk about within that, so we start with S, and that is around strategy. It's around a support network, and we talk about sales. So in terms of the Institute of Sovereign Leadership, thinking about strategy, how would that apply to us as individuals running our business? What would you say to us about that, please?
Go on, Thea.
For me, like, strategy is in a way, like all of my work, it comes from the inside. So I used to be an incredible strategic thinker in a more accepted use of the word. In my business, I had to be, and I was very good at it. But for me, strategy now starts from the inside out. Like, everything starts from the inside out. So our sovereign leadership framework takes you on an internal journey at the beginning, which is to raise awareness of yourself and all your habits, your patterns, your skills, your gifts, to accept everything that you are, that sovereign piece of being whole and accepting everything that you are. That gives you proper choice, gives you real choice of how you behave and the actions that you take, that are then free from the habitual side of your personality or some of your more restrictive traits that might take you down certain well-run pathways. And this leads to a greater creativity and empowerment. And that's the hinge point that takes you then into the external, more strategic space that is around stewardship of yourself, stewardship of others and your relationships, and stewardship of systems, organizations, and our planet. And so each of those levels is a different strategic area of growth, development, focus, intention. that the framework kind of leads you through. And so it scales outward, but it all starts in here.
I love it. I just feel like, was she listening to my speech that I'm preparing for Nottingham, which is called The Alignment Advantage, which in a sense I'm saying that, but in my own way. But yeah, I totally agree. We have to start with self because it impacts everything that we do. David, did you want to add that? Maybe come in on more the support network and how our sovereign leadership and the steward, being a steward, helps us to be positive contributors in different networks.
Yeah, I think like the strategic thing, like particularly from a more traditional perspective, there are like so many models and frameworks, and there's advice and all of that stuff is really important in leadership and in business, particularly at the beginning, if you don't have much experience in leadership. But even at that stage, we would advocate for, by all means, taking on that advice and taking on that guidance, but also to check in with yourself and being able to say, not just to follow advice or guidance blindly, but to be able to ground yourself and center yourself and be able to go, okay, does this align with me? Does this feel right to me? Does this feel right for my business and my vision for my business, and how, the values of my business and where I want my, how I want my business to be in the world, and the impact that I want my business to have at whatever level, be that local, national, global. And I think that certainly early on in my business experience, I just kind of just blindly followed the advice that people would give me. And I remember, so I started business as a martial artist, building a dojo in Cambridge, and I just blindly followed the wonderful advice from my teacher, and it really built my business very, very quickly. But I also noticed that I wasn't enjoying it as much as I thought I would, and I was getting very, very tired. It was a physical job, obviously, but I was getting very, very tired, very burnt out, and losing my enthusiasm and passion. But once I started to look inward more and start to question, okay, well, what lights me up? What do I enjoy doing? Then there was just this very, very subtle shift. But I noticed that I just enjoyed it so much more, and I had so much more energy, and it didn't feel like it was such hard work, like I was kind of climbing uphill or walking through treacle, that there was an ease to it and a flow to the way that I taught and the people that I attracted, and the work that I was doing. And then that had a huge impact, right, on the energy I had for being at home, growing my business in a direction or expanding my business in a direction and in ways that really, really felt aligned to the difference that I wanted to make in the world. And so what I noticed was role modeling that then just becomes a really inspiring thing to other people, because there's no dissonance, so you're speaking from the heart, and therefore people really feel that, they really sense that. And that made a huge difference to my journey as a self-employed martial arts instructor.
I agree with you. I mean, I talk to people about following the North Star as well now, and that's something that I'm very aware of within myself. You talk about just blindly following people if it's not aligned to your values. There's things that I'm going to be making changes for my own practice, how I network later on in the year, because I've realized I'm going to too many breakfast meetings, and actually I don't eat breakfast. Do you know what I mean? And it's like I'm going along. So on Monday, for example, even though I'd paid to network, I didn't eat, because I thought, like, now it's nearly 12 o'clock. I haven't had anything. I'm good. I've been, drinking my water. I've been for a walk. I went to a network yesterday, and then I just found myself like going along with it. And I thought, when I was eating, I was like, I don't really want this.
Nope.
So again, I'm going to be making changes. And it sounds like a simple thing, but it's like what Thea said at the beginning. You know, it starts with self.
Yeah.
And for me, you know, it's all about what you choose to do, and don't just follow the crowd. So who you hang around with can have an impact on you. I'm not criticizing people for eating breakfast. I'm just saying that for myself, it's something that I want to do. I want to be fasting more and making that part of my day. So,
and there's a self-care, and there's a self-care piece in that as well, right? Isn't there?
Yeah.
Like being able to tune in and be able to go, okay, what is it that I need that allows me to thrive and flourish? And if that's fasting, I'm a faster. I know Thea's a faster, but like my partner, for example, she can't, you know, mostly she has to have breakfast in the morning, and she eats little and often
throughout the day.
So it's a different thing.
Yeah, brilliant. So should we talk about sales? We've had somebody, I think, on YouTube, I don't know if they're still watching us, but they said S is for sales. You know, how does our lead, you know, if we become more sovereign in our leadership, what impact would that have on our sales? Do you think we're going to be better at sales? Do you, you know, just guide us through that part of the conversation, please?
Oh, yeah. So I've been on this massive journey around rejection. And I think for me, rejection, or the fear of rejection, was just such a barrier to, I can't make the sale. I can't make the ask. I can't put the proposal forward. I can't reach out to that person in case they say no. I can't challenge them for fear that they might go, oh, I'm not putting up with that, I'm off, even though I know that if I did, it would be really in service to them. So the journey of inner sovereignty for me has really included a lot this notion of being able to just feel more comfortable and feel okay with rejection, because rejections are really, there's a way of framing rejection that's actually a really, really positive thing. And another part of that has also, for me, has also been about just being able to take a stand for, this is what I stand for. This is what sovereign leadership stands for. This is the stand that I take for my client. And then that has a huge impact on sales, because people feel that David is a fierce champion of who I want to become. And that makes a huge impact on converting people as part of the.
I love it. Thea, is there something you want to
Yeah, I think in our world, people are very attuned to a fake voice in sales these days, and bombarded by it, and sick of it. And one of the things that I think is so important when you're coming from yourself and learning yourself, above all else, know thyself is one of the expressions I really love.
Yes.
And more importantly, able to accept everything that you are, like David talking about that sense of that fear of rejection. That's a part of him, that we all have these bits of ourselves that are our humanness, and we wouldn't be us without them. And the more we can accept them, the more kind of, I don't know, it's not the word that's coming, it's almost placid we can be in those sales conversations of just, I'm just coming from me and from something I care passionately about. And I have a dear friend, Ellen, who I share my boat ownership with, and she's great on sales, and she does a lot of heart-led sales courses. And the thing she always said that I always remember is, yes is great, no is great, it's the maybes that are a killer in sales. And so you can have a real conversation where you can say, by all means, say no right now, and then we can not bother each other's time anymore.
Exactly.
And if you're a maybe, how quickly can I get you from either that to yes or to no, whichever it is, you know? How can I support you to get the right answer for you? Because I'm not interested in you coming to me as a compromise or a feeling forced, or because you think it's the best thing for you without actually feeling it as being true for you. And so I think it gives you this self-possession in your sales conversations. And also the simple skills that we teach of centering, of being able to calm your nervous system, just mean you can have a conversation that isn't gabbled, that isn't kind of hurried to the end, or where you're not blurting out the kind of final, well, if you want to join me, you can blah, blah, blah. But you're actually able just to elucidate what you want to offer in a clear, calm way.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, what I've written down is being authentic and being vulnerable.
Yes.
Because I do feel that if you show up as your authentic self, sometimes you might need a prompt just for guidance, okay? But try not to maybe have a sales script so you sound wooden. And be vulnerable so that people can actually tune into where you are as well. So I don't know if David would agree, but on that first conversation that we had, I feel like I just told you, look, this is what I'm doing. This is where I am. You know, we'd met each other once on a networking call. So we had to build trust and rapport quite quickly online. And like we've said here, we haven't actually met each other, but, you know, in the physical world. But I feel because I've been showing up as my authentic self, and David's seen some things that I'd written online and some of my posts and things like that, that will come across in that sales conversation as well. And what I would say about the maybes, for me, I see a maybe as let's keep nurturing this conversation. And the reason why I say that is because there's some announcements that I'm going to be making for the event that will be happening next week. And some of those announcements were people who were a maybe, because timing is everything. And I believe in divine timing as well. So sometimes the maybe is, it's not right now, but if you know how to keep nurturing that relationship in an authentic way as well, not in a fake way, oh, I'm just turning up because I want something. But if people can feel your energy, that you genuinely care about them, you are genuinely interested in them.
Yeah.
And you may find that maybe is coming round sooner than you think, because before you know it, you're in alignment with where they are with something that's happening in their journey. So
I think for her, she was in a much more high octane sales environment than I've ever been in. So it was kind of much more scheduled than my sales process. For me, it comes back down to the support question, the other S of support, because if somebody's not sure, like we have a kind of easy touch support group that's available for them to keep coming, keep getting to know us. It's by donation, so it's not a huge outlay. We love doing it. People love being there. There's a great community, and that way, like you say, you can grow trust, grow the rapport, and get that sense of, yeah, I feel like there's something for me here that I want to invest in. When you're ready to do so. So certainly my approach to sales isn't maybe as kind of hard and fast as hers.
Yeah, actually, I love that you've mentioned donation, and let's just touch on that kind of contribution model, which I see coming in more, which I feel that this is where we need to be when we're talking about sales and we're talking about money, because it's essentially energy. Money is just an exchange of energy. It's just how we are quantifying it in this, the times that we live in. The contribution offer, I mean, tell me more about that. How does that work for you in your business?
I think for us, it's about that this particular model. It was a real experiment. It came up as an idea a couple of years ago, a year and a half, a couple of years ago, and we have just a very simple methodology called sovereign dialogue, and it's a way of taking your awareness internally, asking a question, or following what's happening within your own sense of being, to then dialogue on paper or through recording what is coming up for you, what's live for you, and accessing that other voice that starts to evidence the fact that you've got a lot more depth, wisdom, breadth than you probably believe possible once you take out the filters of your patterns, your habits, your unconscious bias. And so we just developed a very simple structure that for us is very easy and pleasurable to deliver. We do 3 seasons a year of between 10 and 8, well, between 8 and 12 weeks. And so we made it by donation because it just felt right, and it keeps people connected. It's not something that you know, it's I'm one of the things I very much keep touch with is whether the exchange is feeling true and feeling reciprocal. And so I really keep touch with that. Is this feeling like I'm getting back what I need in that energy exchange from it? And it has always felt clean so far. So you know, we do, and I tell you what, it's really nice. You get little amounts of money coming in from participants, and it just feels really good that they just wanted to donate that to you. So yeah, there's something quite precious about it.
Yeah, well, we're going to move on to the E now, which is emotional alignment. So I feel like, you know, just where you're taking us with that part of the conversation is so beautiful, because it has to feel, like you said, reciprocal. If you feel like you're giving more than the other and someone's just maybe taking from you. So we've all in business, and I think anybody in business can relate to this. When you first start out, because you want to make a good impression, you want to show up, and you're willing to do things, it's about how much you're valuing yourself. And we know that as business owners, a lot of us have been not valuing ourselves properly. It shows up in our pricing, it shows up in overgiving and all of this, but this can have an impact on our emotional alignment. So I think where you've touched on there, Thea, is wonderful. So if you wanted to talk a bit deeper, but we're now moving on to emotional well-being, I'd love to hear more, please.
So the sovereign dialogue sessions that we run, there is this, because it's by donation, then there are plenty of people that come and they don't pay at all, or they pay a very, very small amount. And we get a lot from the process. I mean, it's a process that I do almost daily anyway. So when I'm doing the calls, it's something that I would be doing at that time probably anyway. So it's a really nice thing to have that support and to have that community. But what's also really wonderful about it is that we're providing a space where people can get the support that they need, and they put aside that time for themselves, and that feels also really important too, as a self-care practice. And then within the hour that we run, people get an opportunity to ground themselves, a little bit of meditation, a little bit of connection to their bodies, but also to their emotions, and as Thea said, to their wisdom. And again and again and again, we hear people be really surprised by, wow, I just didn't realize I was that wise. You know, like, I didn't realize I had that wisdom within me. So that's a lovely piece of feedback. And to see the impact that has on people, like, you know, they stand taller, they take more space, they speak with more confidence, their voices are generally kind of much deeper, and they talk much slower. So these wonderful manifestations that come as a result of doing this work. And then we send them off into breakout rooms, into small groups, and offer that opportunity to share what they want to share, but also to really listen deeply. And then that kind of mutual exchange that takes place is also just incredibly affirming. And then the last 15 minutes of the call we all come back into the main room, and people get a chance to share again what they want to share. But it's in that kind of cross-fertilization that people get inspiration, and people get ideas, and people get insights that they might not have had just from themselves, that they're getting that from other people. And then that's also incredibly emotionally resourcing, you know, for people too. And then what a great way either to start the day, you know, because as we know, you know, if you sort of set the day and start the day at that kind of in that kind of way, it just paves the way for just a beautiful day, or we sometimes do it at the end of the day as well, which is just a really nice way to wrap up your day and then to go into your evening and then the day really calmly and beautifully as well.
Wow, gosh, that sounds like a powerful session. I'd love to find out more and come along if that would be okay.
Absolutely, everybody's welcome, and it's simple, it's effective, and it one of the things I love about it, like David said, it helps people to speak with their own authority. But what I really love is when they don't speak with their own authority as well. You know, we set up these spaces, and people sometimes feel like they have to be a certain way in that space. And what I love is when people come in and say, I'm here, but I'm not going to say anything. I'm not in that space today. And I'm just like, yeah, that's the alignment that we've created, that kind of, that total acceptance of being yourself and being true to yourself in that moment. That makes my heart sing.
And silence is so powerful. And I feel, I mean, I noticed a lady on LinkedIn, I think she was doing a silent retreat. She was a little bit too far away from me, but I might still look at it again. But I thought, do you know what? I think I could do with that. Particularly as a working mom, my house isn't particularly noisy because my older children, they don't live with me. I've got granddaughters. I don't see them all the time. But I have one boy in the house, and sometimes he fills the house up for 10 little boys. But silence, often we're not just sitting with ourselves. We have to have the distraction, and I include myself in this. We get the distractions from the notifications, something on in the background, having music. I don't personally have a television, but again, other people, they want the background noise from the television. Sometimes we just need the silence. Let's listen to our inner voice. What is our inner wisdom trying to tell us? So I really love that. So let's talk about energy alignment then. So I was talking about physical energy, but if you wanted to maybe expand and actually go, talk about metaphysical stuff, then that's fine.
There's so much to say about energy, and the alignment of energy, but like everything for me, sovereign leadership, it's from within. And it's really interesting actually, because we have themes for each season of sessions that we're doing, and our theme for this season of sessions is it's all in you. And that kind of, through the work that we're doing and the structure that we're offering, helping people get that confidence that what's in them is valid, is beneficial, is full of, it has everything they need, basically. And it's very difficult to tap into all of that without finding some alignment within yourself. Because as you say, we live our lives fractured by noise, by kind of unconscious beliefs that we have about the world, about how it works relating to us, that are generally not true, but we still nevertheless have evidence for. And so we cling on to them very consistently through our lives, because we don't get rid of them. We can manage them and learn to tone them down, and in order to let that other voice in that can give you some other options, some broader options. And that, I think, is where you find your alignment. David and I yesterday were talking about the value of the pause that we support people to engage before responding, before acting, just to give you that time to turn off the automatic and turn on the broader possibilities, the more creative, the more the less kind of touchable, tangible, maybe, voices within yourself. And So I think people can think that alignment is difficult to get, but it's actually such a simple thing. It's a pause, it's a breath. And certainly if you do something like a silence retreat for however many days, you're going to feel like a wow of a huge impact of that. But the thing I love encouraging people to do when I first start working with them, and then actually when I've been working with them for 5 years, 7 years, whatever it is, I'm still working on this usually, is to pause, is to stop, is to breathe, center, and find that internal alignment. And it's that internal alignment that then takes you into alignment with other people, because you start to hear what maybe they're actually saying that they're not, they don't, the words aren't reflecting. You start to understand there's an agenda here that I'm not getting, that I need to ask about and find out more about, that you wouldn't hear if you were just in your blinkered automatic state. And so it's a very simple, such a practical technique to pause. I was talking to David yesterday. I thought if I could monetize that pause, it would be worth a lot of money. Stops you making stupid mistakes.
Yes.
It aids you making really great moves. And all it is the practice, the habit, the discipline of going, hold on. Breathe. What's within me? Maybe I won't go that way. Maybe I'll actually reach for that possibility instead.
Oh, I love that. And I'm definitely on board with what you're saying there, Thea, because I do feel that actually, if we don't take that pause, like you said before, it's something said, you didn't mean to say it, blah, 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 and the energy changes. But again, are we reading the energy? Energy can tell us a lot if we just slow down. And like you said, check things out. What is the non-physical telling us? It's not always about what's being communicated with the voice or even with our body language. There's things that we can pick up. So I'm just conscious of the time because I know that David's got to go shortly. So I feel like what you said there, we've touched on the decision-making process actually, and how we can get so much more out of it by just slowing down. So let's just quickly talk about systems and operations again in that context of sovereignty. How as leaders does this sovereign leadership help us to make better decisions in the operations of our business? I can't hear you, Dave. Oh, he's on mute.
You obviously sneezed or something.
Rookie mistake. In the model that Thea shared, this sovereign leadership framework, it's that kind of external part of it that we just kind of call stewardship. Like the lived expression of that internal connection that you have, and then what that looks like out in the world. So the way you create your business, the way you create your clients, the systems that you put in place that really beautifully align to the values that you hold and the energy that you want to have within your business. So, the kind of communication that you have, the respect, the being able to pause rather than just be on autopilot, and making sure that the people in your organization, whether that's family or whether it's bigger than, larger than family, but to really make sure that people understand and are aligned with all of that as well, so that the operations of your business work incredibly smoothly.
Fantastic. All right, so as we wrap up, I don't know if you both want to talk about this, but you're coming to Nottingham on Saturday the 23rd of May. You're doing a masterclass for us, which is 60 minutes. So, I'm wondering how I can be in that room, because I normally float around, but based on what you shared with me today, I'm like, oh, I want to be in their masterclass. I want the whole experience. Do you want to first of all, tell us the title and just give us a little teaser of what to expect, please?
Yeah, I haven't got the title with me. But it
is Outgrowing Advice, How Sovereign Leaders Reclaim Their Decision-Making Power.
Back to decision making.
Yeah.
I really wanted to say something about this, Vanessa-Mary, because it goes back to one of the earlier points you were making about you meeting David and there being a spark and building trust. And then, you know, at the time I was a little bit, you know, not involved in the decision making because of my mum's health. And then, and so he was telling me about it, and I thought, well, it sounds great. Sure, you made that decision. I'm totally happy. We'll go with it. But what's become really obvious to me is that we've worked on a sense of a spark and a possibility, and we've gone for it, and we've put our energy in, and you've put your energy into our relationship, and we've progressed it, I would say, quicker than I can possibly, you know, well, I say then I believe, except it happens to me all the time, because this is what happens when you go with that sense of being open to something that feels right in your bones in some way, or in that intuitive or open space that you create. And so we took a decision that wasn't necessarily the most rational or logical decision. It was a decision that resonated with the sense of being right in some way. And what's really obvious already is how much that has given us without even being at the program. It's honed our thinking, the structures you have in place, which I really like, because you're clearly an incredibly organized person, me less so. So I'm looking at you going, wow, this woman is, I have things to learn from Vanessa-Mary's structural and organizational skills that I'm already benefiting from. And our business model is developing because of our conversations with you, the article we wrote. And so the value is already stacking up, and hopefully we will be bringing that value to your network and to your work as well. I feel confident we will, just because it is feeling aligned. So I kind of feel, I feel pretty confident. And so this program, this masterclass is about, rather than either outsourcing decisions, which we're very taught to do these days, learning that confidence of when the decision is good within you, and having the confidence to take that decision, follow it through, and then gather in all the benefits that accrue from that were maybe unexpected.
Okay, I know David's got to go, but I interpret that as intuition. And as leaders, we need to tap into our intuition. It's so, so important. Don't just stick with your logical mind. You have to have that balance. And I think that that's what comes with knowing yourself, doing the deeper work, which obviously this is what your institute is about, supporting the individual to know themselves and to trust themselves more. Do you know, this has been such a beautiful conversation. And I know that we're going to have such a fantastic connection when we see each other live in Nottingham. Thank you so much for trusting me, getting to know me, being part of this. And you've kicked off our first conversation. And for those of you who don't know about the Seeds of Unlimited Success Family Business Growth Summit, it's not just here in Nottingham. If you want to tune in virtually, we have virtual tickets available. Unfortunately, you won't get to hear Thea and David on that virtual ticket, but do connect, because we've got a community which is happening in the background. So we are actually getting to know each other before the event's happening. So Thea and David, I put the link into the chat last night. Please do log on there, and we'll have more people coming in as those tickets are going. So anyway, we're wrapping up. Thank you so much for being part of this conversation. Thank you so much for everyone who tuned in. Love and light to you all, and I'll speak to you very soon. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Bye.
Bye-bye.